Hi. On previous video I've shown you in general how to modify user interface. Now it's time to have a closer look on two typical use cases: modifying content of specific device and creating custom card. I will also use some concepts presented in videos about controller, so if you haven't seen them yet, please consider doing it first. Let's begin with device customization example. Imagine a situation where default controls of some device are simply not matching its nature, so even though you can adjust them to get desired effects, it's just too inconvenient to be practical. For example, let's say you want to control the color of RGB LED. You do it as you would control 3 individual red, green and blue LEDs. It's not a problem to write such code using Stargate, but to adjust the effective color, you need to adjust 3 sliders simultaneously. In most cases, it would be much more user-friendly if we could simply display one color picker input instead of 3 individual numeric inputs. Customized device example on Stargate page is exactly about this. So let's download attached package and have a look on it. Inside we have custom component that we will add to our user interface later on, and devices that will control RGB LED. Depending on which board you want to use, you can either pick Arduino or Node.js version for Raspberry Pi. I'm about to play with Raspberry Pico W, so I will use Arduino version. Device is pretty simple. I just defined pin numbers, declared 3 gate values, one for each color, set device name and marked the device on its info field with string color. This will help identifying it by user interface. For your information, values of info fields are not used by any system component, so it's totally up to you what you will set there and if you use it at all. I just decided to use such convention this time. Finally, I initialized my program, means set pins as outputs, set proper ranges and values of info fields on my gate values, as well as on remote change callbacks. Those will just write current value to relevant pins. End of story. I already uploaded the code to my board and have it available on development server. Now it's time to change the way it's displayed by user interface. If you missed previous video, it's a good moment to check it out, as I will play with the project I set up previously. So as advised on Stargate page, first I create custom directory within components and move here color picker from package attached to example. Inside we have color picker component with related CSS file to style it a little bit and color picker matcher file. Let's start from reviewing color picker component. As you can see, our color picker is using some third-party library which we didn't install yet. I will take care of it now. Stargate.js Mono is a monorepo, so it's using workspaces to isolate its subcomponents. To install a dependency on specific workspace, I open terminal under repository root directory and type npm-w workspace path, in this case apps user interface, install React Colorful. Dependency installed, let's get back to color picker. It receives device model object in props and tracks device state utilizing useModelValue hook. You can use this hook on any model value to receive its actual value that will get updated when necessary. Next, color picker looks for values marked as color red, green and blue within received device model. Now as all necessary variables are in place, it declares data model that will be acceptable by RGB color picker from React Colorful library, and use effect that will update relevant gate values whenever this model would change. Finally, color picker returns a component that can either display RGB color picker if device is online or some text message otherwise. Cool, we know how our color picker will work, but how to tell user interface where to use this component? Here is the trick. All devices are displayed using device component. If you browse down devices dashboard, you will eventually find it. As you can see, on top of the file there is an array of custom device matchers. Custom device matcher is an interface that contains three functions. IsCustom, which is supposed to return true if specific device model should be displayed using this custom matcher. Filter values, which should return an array of gate value models that are irrelevant to this custom matcher, so they still should be displayed by default components. For example, if you know that all the values will be displayed by custom component, you can just return an empty array. Finally, getInstance should return, as you probably guessed already, an instance of your custom component. So let's see how it's implemented in Color Picker Matcher. To figure out if given device model is using Color Picker, we just check if its info field value equals to color. Regarding values, we are not interested in anything that has its info field undefined or not matching a pattern we decided to use. So we return all such values to be displayed as default. Finally, we define a function that will return an instance of our custom component, passing received key and device model to it, and export everything as object implementing custom device matcher interface. Now, as we have all the necessary code in place, we just need to import Color Picker Matcher into device component and put it on custom matchers array. Done, all set. Now I can check on development server if it works. Yep, my device is now displayed in a custom way, so I can update user interface of my local server, and from now on I can adjust the color of my LED using Color Picker instead of default controls. Great, but what if you have a device or group of devices which you want to display separately on entire screen? Not a problem, you can do it by creating custom card. On Stargate page you can find an example of such use case. For simplicity, it's not doing anything fancy, it just displays a color picker from customized device example on separate custom card. So let's download attached package and see what's inside. As you can see, we have several folders we already know from customized device example. Their content is identical, so if you completed previous example already, you don't need to bother. The only new thing here is custom card component. Let's just copy it to our custom folder and have a look on it. With custom card, we need to find devices we are interested in ourselves. So first step will be to get system model from system model context. What is system model and how to use it was explained earlier in videos about controller. Next, we need to create device subscription that will find within system model a device marked with string color on its info field and set device model whenever it will be necessary. Finally, we return a simple component composed of some label and, if desired device was found in system model, a color picker component with proper device model. That's it about the card, but still we need to add it to cards menu. We do it from card display component. Here we have an object defining the content of cards menu. It's the one that opens when you click top left button on user interface. As you can see, each card is defined by its ID, a label to be displayed, and optionally some font awesome icon. So I will add the definition of my custom card. Great, now it should be already visible on cards menu, but still we need to define which component to display if user clicks on it. So first I need to import my custom card component and add it to this switch case statement. Done. Let's save the changes and check user interface. Okay, now we can see additional card on cards menu. Let's click it. Great, everything works as expected. We have our color picker device displayed on separate card. And that would be it for this video. Hope you like it. If so, don't forget to leave a thumb up. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to share anything with us. Any feedback will be appreciated. Thanks for watching and see you on other videos.